Hi, my name is Emily Keckel, and this is my 1984 book analysis presentation. Simple, curious Winston Smith lives in the city Oshina. He works in the Ministry of Truth, rewriting historical documents for the government. However, Winston meets Julia and recognizes the wrongdoings of society. Winston and Julia decide to rebel, however encounter danger and fear their actions will lead them to their deathbeds. Will Winston and Julia start a rebellion and change society, or will they become nothing more than a fantasy? Overall, this book makes the reader question themselves and society. This book is an American classic. Although it was written 72 years ago, the book's message still connects with modern societies. My thesis is, throughout the story 1984, George Orwell engages the reader by making the society of Oshina relatable to modern and future communities. He captivates the reader through the suspense and hopefulness in efforts to lead the reader to believing in a positive outcome. Orwell's words lead the reader to believing that Winston's society will change for the better and emphasizes the power of government's brainwashing citizens. Although 1984 is an American classic, there are cons to the book. First, the book is hard to get into. The first chapters are difficult to grasp Winston's society, and much is left unanswered. It was stated the hallway smelt of boiled cabbage and old rag mats. At one end of its colored poster, too large for indoor display, had been tacked to the wall. It depicted simply an enormous face, more than a meter wide, the face of a man of about 45, with a heavy black mustache, ruggedy, handsome features. Orwell, page 1. Orwell incorporates extensive detail, and his work is too lengthy to process. For the reader, it takes effort to connect with the theme and Winston's story. Second, the book is not for action lovers. The book is slow-paced, as words are stronger than actions. It was stated, until they have become conscious, they will never rebel, and until they have rebelled, they cannot become conscious. Orwell, page 70. The overall meaning is captivating. Therefore, the action on the page is diluted. This is a tactic used to get the reader thinking deeper about the story. Third, the book is not a light read. Orwell uses gruesome words and actions to grab the reader's attention. These topics are sensitive among readers. It was stated, these starving brutes will shoot out of it like bullets. Have you ever seen a rat leap in the air? They will leap onto your face and bore straight into it. Sometimes they attack the eyes first, sometimes they burrow through the cheeks and devour the tongue. Orwell, page 285. The violence of society is used to draw emotion. Authors of the 1940s focused on the deeper message of their work rather than action-packed stories we see in modern society. Orwell's work is not the cleanest. There are inappropriate scenes, foul language, and violence all throughout his text. First, it was stated, I hate purity, I hate goodness, I don't want any virtue to exist anywhere. I want everyone to be corrupt to the bones. Orwell, page 125. Winston states this to Julia before their love affair. The following pages are inappropriate for young readers as the focus no longer is on the theme and rather the disbelief of the content. Second, it was stated, I wanted to rape you and then murder you afterwards. 2 weeks ago, I thought seriously of smashing your head in with a cobblestone. If you wanted to know, I imagined that you had something to do with the thought police. Orwell, page 120 to 121. Orwell incorporates inappropriate actions which takes away from the greater meaning. The focus no longer is on the theme and advertises inappropriate and violent situations. Third, it was stated, there was a gasp and a thud behind him, and he received a violent kick on the ankle which nearly flung him off his balance. One of the men had smashed his fist into Julia's solar pelvis, doubling her like a pocket ruler. She was thrashing about on the floor, fighting for breath. Orwell, page 223. The practice of violence takes away from the theme. Although the reader feels the emotion portrayed, the topic is sensitive among readers as they could question whether to continue reading. Although there are cons to 1984, it is an American classic and deserves to be read. The meaning behind the story impacts society 72 years later. First, the reader actively questions their society. The message is a warning to maintain peace and avoid complete government control. It was stated, if there was hope, it must lie in the polls, because only there, in those swarming disregarded masses, 85% of the population of Oshina, could the force to destroy the party ever be generated. Orwell, page 69. The text claims that until the people become aware of what is happening, nothing will change. The people do not recognize the government's wrongdoings, therefore they are endangering themselves. This relates to modern society because people underestimate the power of the government. Second, the book is relevant to modern society. A society becoming clueless to its surroundings proves importance today. It was stated, the dark-haired girl behind Winston had begun crying out. In a lucid moment, Winston found that he was shouting with the others and kicking his heel violently against the rung of his chair. The horrible thing about the 2 minutes hates was not that one was obligated to act a part, but it was impossible to avoid joining in. Orwell, page 14. Peer pressure and societal norms can cause people and practices to dissolve. The people had no clue that their government was controlling their lives. If we refuse to maintain peace, society today could have a similar outcome. Third, the book makes references to modern technology. Decades ago, the book was a fantasy, as today it is considered a reality. It was stated, the telescreen, perhaps to celebrate the victory, perhaps to drown the memory of the lost chocolate, crashed into Oshina 'tis for thee. You were supposed to stand to attention, however, in his present position, he was invisible. Orwell, page 26. Televisions, cameras, and recording devices were futuristic during the 40s. Orwell's predictions are proving themselves true in modern society. This is eye-opening to readers today. If one is not careful, modern society could be controlled by the wrong people. Some may argue that we are living in such a world today. Here's a memorable quote that I found in 1984. It was stated, "War is peace, freedom is slavery, ignorance is strength." Orwell, page 4. This represents the motto of the party. This is memorable because the party brainwashes people into believing that more chaos equals more peace. They also preach that freedom is irrelevant and selfishness demonstrates power. If you look to the left side of your screen on the green agree side, you will see 3 quotes. Number 1, Winston begins to remember the past that he's worked so hard to destroy and turns against the party. Even Winston's quiet, practically undetectable form of anarchism is dangerous in a world filled with thought police and omnipresent two-way telescreen. He fears his inevitable capture and punishment, but feels no compulsion to change his ways. Julie, page 1. Number 2, there are no clear answers in the book, and it is often the reader who has to decide what to believe. But despite a slightly unresolved plot, the book serves its purpose. Julie, page 1. Number 3, Orwell wrote this book to raise questions, and the sort of questions he raised have no easy answer. This aspect can make the novel somewhat of a disappointment for someone in search of a light read, but anyone prepared to not just read but think about a novel will get a lot out of 1984. Julie, page 1. I agree with the following quotes because, on number 1, Winston tries to block out memories of his family because of his selfish actions, however, ends up fueling his rage. In a society where people are watching each other's every move, Winston begins to feel the pressure of slipping up. On number 2, Orwell leaves many situations open to the reader's interpretation on purpose. The story doesn't end with a huge change, for this establishes themes in the book. On number 3, Orwell wrote his book to raise questions towards society. This is not a light read and makes the reader think beyond expectations. If you look to the right on the red disagree side, you will see 3 quotes. Number 1, overall, however, the book cannot have been better written. Julie, page 1. Number 2, and now today, after communism has crumbled with the Berlin Wall, 1984 has come back to tell us a tale of mass media, data mining, and their harrowing consequences. Julie, page 1. Number 3, Winston's narration brings the reader inside his head and sympathetic with the cause of the would-be rebels. Julie, page 1. I disagree with the following quotes because, on number 1, Orwell uses violence, vulgar language, and inappropriate scenes, which demotes the meaning of the book. They are distractions and take away from the theme. On number 2, communism is still practiced and it is a worldwide disturbance. This practice poses threats to the U.S. society. On number 3, I was not sympathetic for Winston. He was responsible for his actions. Although he reacted out of pure sanity, he knew that he would be caught. I began to wonder when I read about Orwell writing 1984 during the Cold War. His words and organization reflect current events. I wonder how much of 1984 was based on the Cold War. I recommend this book because it is an American classic, makes the reader question, is relevant to modern society, and is a book with a deeper meaning. Although 1984 does not have a happy ending, the message portrayed is important for people to hear. Orwell's warning can help our society continue running peacefully. If I were to rate this book, I would give it a 3.5 because it was a deeper meaning than I expected, and the slow pace of the book made it difficult to keep interest. The book is similar to The Giver. The societies were extremely similar. I rated The Giver at a 3 stars because the book has a happy ending, however, 1984 has more meaning behind it and received more recognition. To reiterate, the theme in 1984 was, throughout the story 1984, George Orwell captivates the reader by making Oshina's societal issues similar to modern-day problems. 1984 has become an American classic due to readers connecting with these societal issues and using Orwell's words as a warning to maintain a peaceful society. Thank you so much for listening to my presentation, and I hope you enjoyed my take on 1984. Thank you!